I've seen plenty of campaigns that are trying to get decision makers, but actually they're getting decision influencers that looks good on the surface, but actually they're just wasting the sales team's time.
This is the B2B Performance Marketing Podcast by Webmarketer, here to help you make the right moves with your B2B advertising. No spin, no smoke and mirrors, just honest insights from the advertising front line. Today's episode is all about lead quality. So better fit leads with a higher close rate rather than a full CRM, which can actually be a false positive. We've talked about why lead quality is so important a few times now, but we thought it was about time that we dedicated an episode to it. So today we're going to talk about common issues, how to spot them, and also how to fix them.
Yeah, this is an absolute classic. So things look good on the surface. There's plenty of leads coming through. But actually, when you go and look at the CRM or speak to the sales team, the leads are a bad fit or they're just not closing. This often isn't caused by just one thing. It's usually a mix of multiple things that compound into a bigger problem. So to start, let's talk through a few of the main culprits. The first is attracting the wrong kind of business. Businesses that are too small, they don't have the right infrastructure in place, or they're outside of your service area, or simply they're just not going to get the value out of your product or services. Then there's getting the right business to inquire, but it's the wrong person in the business. I've seen plenty of campaigns that are trying to get decision makers, but actually they're getting decision influencers that looks good on the surface, but actually they're just wasting the sales team's time.
To follow on from that, there's also buyer journey mismatch. So businesses that are too early on in the process, they might be the right business and the right person in the business, but they're just not ready to buy yet. And finally, there's unresponsiveness. So people that inquire, but you just can't seem to get hold of them. A classic case of getting ghosted. And actually, this can go both ways. Sometimes it's a sales problem with things like a slow follow-up, and other times it's a marketing problem with things like bad leads or a process that's too intense or too high friction from the start.
These are the most common issues we see, and I'm sure you could relate to at least one of them. But the big question is, what can you do about it? So let's start with traffic. One of the hardest questions in marketing is this the right traffic? Because you can't tell that from just looking at your inquiries. So it can be hard to see if you're generating good quality traffic from your ads, but only getting the poor fit inquiries. The good news is there's a few things that you can do to get a steer on this. First up is observation audiences in Google Ads. This isn't for targeting. This is to see the audiences that are showing up without limiting your delivery. You can also use web analytics like GA4, as well as click mapping, session recording, and scroll mapping software to look beyond your conversions. Now, Microsoft actually offers a free piece of kit here called Clarity that does this for you. And it always surprises me that more people don't know about this. We're not affiliated with Microsoft, we wish, but we just wanted you to know about it because it's a great tool to use. Another way to get a gauge on your traffic quality is that you can import engagement rate from your GA4 into your Google Ads. You can also look at things like scroll depth, time on page, and video completion rates. As a quick aside here, you don't want to track these as primary conversions, but you definitely want to either track them as secondary conversions or keep an eye on them inside of your Google Analytics. If these numbers are healthy, then your traffic could well be fine and your landing page is the problem.
Now, I hope I'm not stating the obvious here, but advertising channels matter a lot too. We almost always see the best quality leads come from Google Search, then LinkedIn, and then Meta and Performance Max, where lead quality actually fluctuates quite a lot. Now, it's not always the case, but the key point here is that you've got to make sure that your web forms are integrated with your CRM so you can see which channels your traffic's coming from. There are always exceptions, so you've got to treat this case by case. Now, knowing is half the battle. So when you can see that data, you can scale up the channels that are delivering you your best leads. And on the flip side, then you can either scale down the bad ones or just set aside time to really look at them and see where they're going wrong.
As marketers, one of the biggest threats to lead quality is actually that we're too close to the business. And so we assume a level of knowledge that our potential customers don't actually have. We know the business inside out, but our visitors don't. So we have to ask ourselves, would a stranger know what it is we do, how it works, and why it's worth their time in the first 5 seconds? If not, then it's something that we need to work on, and urgently. And don't underestimate visuals. We've talked before how in sports coaching there's this thing called show don't tell. So it's really important that you give visuals as well, rather than just relying on the copy.
There was some great points about clarity there. Next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about alignment. This is all about making sure that what you say in your ads and on your landing page actually connects with your ICP's world. It's a funny thing, isn't it? As marketers, a lot of the time when we're creating content, we actually slip into this mode where we're selling to ourselves, not the customer. This is a classic mistake because when we do this, we're actually highlighting what we think are the best bits. Whereas if our ICP is price sensitive, we should be covering things like price efficiency. If they're quality centric, we need to be demonstrating how we drive standards. If they're results driven, we should be showing outcomes and processes and giving proof. We really want the nodding dog effect as people are reading. They're going through going, yep, this is exactly what I need. To do that, it's really important that we speak directly to one person. If we try and say everything to everyone, we actually end up saying nothing. So it's really important to understand as much about your ICP as possible and speak directly to them. We covered how to do this in episode 10 and also provided a download link to our breakthrough blueprint so you can work through. This is particularly relevant if you're attracting the right businesses but the wrong people in those businesses. If that is the case, it's really worth checking who your ads and landing pages are speaking to. If you're attracting the wrong kind of role, you just need to adjust and speak to the kind of challenges, goals, and situations that the right role will resonate with.
It's also really important that we talk to the customer, not about our company. So this is about flipping the positioning from we to you, because your ICP doesn't actually care about your business. They care about theirs and what you can help them achieve. So what value do they get by engaging with you? And this means that the conversion mechanism has to match that too. So get in touch and contact us are usually too weak because they're vague and add little to no value. We've talked before about cost estimators, product or service customizers, or free consultations, things that actually add value to your ICP and that they will want to take action on. There's also asking too much of your visitors with big blocks of text that are difficult to read, complicated language, or confusing concepts. All of these are asking for way too much effort when really they don't care enough to do it for you. In the book Storybrand, Donald Miller talks about this idea that when you're reading a web page, you have a set number of calories that are available to burn. And the number of calories are always a lot lower than you think. If the reader has to do too much work, then they'll burn through all of those calories really early and just abandon the whole thing. So what this means is if you're attracting the right kind of people, you don't want to put them off before they even inquire.
Okay, so we've covered this from a bit of a bird's eye view, so it's time to get more tactical. Here's some of the things that we've seen our clients do that really help them bump their lead quality up. The first thing is call setting. So a very quick call just to confirm client fit before booking a proper meeting. The other thing is lead scoring, measuring things like webinars attended, key pages visited, deal age, things like that, just to identify the best opportunities to pay the most attention to. And then the final one is focusing on response time. If a lead sits untouched for 48 hours, it's basically dead. And one of our clients worked really hard to get in touch with every lead within 10 minutes, picking up the phone as soon as they inquired. And you can even take small steps towards this by setting up things like autoresponders from your web forms just to manage time expectations.
Let's also talk about a couple of things that we've put in place. One of our favorite things for improving lead quality is actually a little bit counterintuitive, and I think that's why we like it. We probably all know by now that the fewer fields that you have in a form, the easier it is to submit and the more leads that you're going to get. But if you add more fields or make them a little bit harder to answer, then the lead volume drops, but the quality increases. The counterintuitive bit is sometimes you have to take the plunge and reduce your conversion rate in order to get better quality leads. And if you're going for quality over volume, then usually this is a really good option to take.
And the final thing is not to sleep on your thank you page. It can be a great way to get an inquiry to take themselves to the next deal stage. So one thing we like to do is to put a calendar widget on thank you pages. That way, if people want to discuss things further, they've got the option to do it right then and there.
So as always, let's do a quick recap about what we've talked about today. Identify the problem so you know what you need to fix. Is it the wrong business? The wrong person in the business? Is the sales follow-up slow, or is it simply just too high intensity? Is it something you can fix with marketing, or is it a sales thing? Make sure you're getting the right kind of traffic with observation audiences, GA4 engagement, and heat mapping. Fix your ads and landing page content so they're crystal clear, both the visuals and the copy. Test adding friction to your web forms. Sometimes the drop in conversion rates is worth the increase in the quality of your leads. Keep the momentum up with next steps and setting time expectations wherever possible.
And if you found this useful, please do share it with someone you know who's struggling with lead quality and has the sales team breathing down their neck. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.